For 3 years straight, the number one name in the country of England for newborn babies is Muhammad. Tell me that white Christians are not being invaded. How can you lie to our faces with your taqiyya? This is an invasion on all fronts. Our people are being pushed out of the workplace. We're being pushed out of city councils. That smug face of the taqiyya Muslims needs to be wiped off these people's faces. These people are looking to destroy us. These people are looking to outbreed us. The Muslims have not come here to assimilate. They have come here to steal the wealth of this land, to rape our women. What about the 250,000 women in England that were raped by Pakistani Muslims, and they got little slaps on the wrist from the woke Democratic regime? The Muslims are being used by the Democrats to instill socialism in America. We know it. Look at all of your top Muslim leaders. They all pander to homosexuality, the trans agenda, and to socialism. You're fake Muslims. You're just using the Democrats, these woke liberal idiots, the women in New York, to gain power. And once the Muslims have power in this country, then they will start throwing the homosexuals off the roofs, just like they do in Palestine. You guys all cry about Palestine. Try being a white Christian man preaching the word of God in Palestine. Guess what might happen to you? The same thing that happened to me here in Dearborn, Michigan. You will be stoned for saying the name of Jesus Christ in Palestine, in Afghanistan, in Yemen, in Iraq. Jesus Christ is outlawed in those countries, and we will stand. The crusade has begun. Your time in this country is running short. The time of stealing from the Detroit black Christian Americans is over. It's over. Muslims go home before we send you home. We have cruise ships, we have planes, we have trains, and we're going to pack them out with all of the Arabs. You have to go home. We don't want you here. Our founding fathers gave this country to their posterity. White Christians, and they brought along with them their black friends, and now we're here to reclaim America for the blacks and the white people.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
We will not allow these third world mongrels to run roughshod over us without a fight. The body of Christ is one. If you are in Christ, you are my brother. If you stand against Islam, you are my brother. If you are willing to stand up and take this country back, you are my brother. Join the Crusades and extricate this filth from our country. We will have our way. Come blood or sweat, we will have our way.
Your time has expired.
This is your Christian land. Christ is King.
Hello, Patriots. So we are getting closer to the midterms, and as 107 has said, we are probably looking at a hard pause. That's when the TDS liberals will become even more unhinged. So remember to be ready for anything, really. Who knows what they're up to. Also, thank you, Patriots, for watching, supporting, and buying me coffee. It is most appreciated, and your kind comments really do help keep me doing this every single day. So thank you again. I'm at Restored Republic via AGCR update compiled by Judy BYINGTON. Bill Gates cloned thousands of babies on Epstein Island with a goal to replace humans with lab-grown, spiritually dead, programmable cloned slaves. Trump and his global military alliance have shut down the cloning labs and thus saved humanity's future. Remembering the Lord and His goodness will keep our hearts grateful, humble, and open to His guiding hand in our lives. Judy note, in 1823, the Rothschilds Illuminati deep state cabal took over all the financial operations of the Catholic Church, resulting in them owning the Catholic Church, Vatican, and Vatican Bank. By 1913, the Rothschilds deep state and other Satan-worshipping bankers had taken control of the U.S. monetary system. They soon established their privately owned Federal Reserve and IRS, running U.S. taxpayer monies through their privately owned U.S. corporation in the independent Washington, D.C., to their privately owned UK Crown in the independent city of London. Then the monies went on to their privately owned Vatican Bank in their independent Vatican City, and then out to their central banks across the world. About a month later, the monies returned to the Illuminati deep state cabal's New York Central Bank, where they lent it back, charging interest for use of the American people. Another way the cabal made money was through creating wars that they would finance on both sides, including World War II. Hitler was a Rothschild. At the end of World War II, with the help of certain Satan-worshipping deep state elites in the U.S. government, including H.W. Bush, he and Eva Braun settled in Argentina. He died there as an old man in 1962. During his last days, and with the help of U.S. deep state elites such as George W. Bush, Hitler established the Fourth Reich in the United States. H.W. Bush helped establish the CIA and Hitler's Operation Paperclip. Paperclip ran from 1946 to 1959. Satanic ritual abuse survivors who as children were mind-controlled through that CIA program claimed it was still going on today. Operation Paperclip not only enabled the Nazis to infiltrate its government and intelligence agencies at the highest levels, but established a very sophisticated mind control program based on the satanic philosophy of pedophilia and child sacrifice, used to split a young person's mind into multiple thinking patterns that perpetrators could control throughout their life. Judy note, followers of Satan believed Satan had both male and female characteristics. Hitler practiced Satan worshipping as a part of his MK Ultra mind control program that he established in the USA, Canada, and Australia through formation of the CIA. Their Satan worship involved having control over people's minds using God's most innocent beings, children. They organized pedophile parties, torture of victims, and child sacrifice to honor Satan in return for his promises of riches, power, and glory. Hitler had 5 children who carried on his Satan worship philosophy ingrained with the goal of total control of humanity. That is, Satan worship destroyed a belief in God, destroyed a belief in the sacredness of the family, and destroyed your God-given rights to freedom, all of which would destroy the nation.
Hitler's boys and girls were indistinguishable from each other because they were all androgynous, had both male and female characteristics. 1. Angela Merkel, Germany's longest-serving chancellor. 2. Theresa May, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. 3. Dalia Grybauskaite, President of Lithuania. 4. Nancy Pelosi, U.S. Democrat and Speaker of the House. 5. Clara Hitler, mother to Adolf, was a prostitute, undercover CIA agent, and the mother of U.S. President Barack Obama. When the bisexual Obama, while married to the former Oregon State football player Michael Robinson, illegally obtained the U.S. presidency, he had a goal to destroy America. Barack Obama and ex-CIA Dyer. John Brennan's Tuesday meeting assassination list. Deep state traitors running the White House were literally targeting whoever they wanted, including Americans, completely above the law. When officials like former AG Eric Holder under Obama were asked if Obama could assassinate Americans on American soil, Holder essentially said, "Yes." Brennan led the effort. Every week targets would be marked, while teams would be deployed around the world to take targets out, or by drone, including civilians and Americans, and the following week, they would meet again and do it all over again. The skiff on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026. Among Obama's many other crimes, he gave Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein the funding to push cloning experiments in pursuit of creating a slaved humanity. They also further established dumb underground bioweapon labs and ran the Vatican's child sex trafficking ring with headquarters in Ukraine and Zionist Israel. Bill Gates has cloned thousands of bobbies on Epstein Island with a goal to replace natural humans with lab-grown, spiritually dead, programmable beings. The plan was for a digital ID for the life of a post-human slave race. The White House site on Telegram revealed on Moan. 17 Aug. 2026. Over a year ago on 14 Aug. 2025, and under military custody, Epstein's partner in crime, Ghislaine Maxwell, had confessed to this involvement in the most horrific operation in modern history. Though Maxwell's statements weren't new revelations, they merely confirmed what was already known. A few weeks prior, in July 2025, under Trump's direction, U.S. Marines had raided another private island and took cryo-units containing 3,000 embryos and drives of child DNA labeled with gates, barcodes. The military's subterranean scans had revealed that high-energy biochambers had been hidden on certain private islands for years. Called Project Genesis, the genetic slaughterhouse started in 2003 after a deep-state cabal Bohemian Grove, California meeting with Gates, Epstein, and Bilderberg agents. They had a lot of resources to support such an evil endeavor. Below Epstein Island was a military-grade biotech lab funded by U.S. taxpayer monies. Hidden in CIA black budgets, Mossad support, and big tech billionaires pumping billions through Gates proxies. The DNA was collected from abducted children around the world. Such supplied mass-produced clones, raised by AI caregivers, and implanted with biometric chips linked directly to Microsoft servers. All was done under the guise of quantum research and NSA channels. Maxwell named Gates, DARPA and Rothschild liaisons which ensured satellite masking, submarine access, and exotic energy for 24/7 clone production. Maxwell also confessed that thousands of these clones were already here, in elite families, fake adoptions, and implanted in the media and politics. Some child actors in Hollywood were lab-grown. Defective ones were used in occult rituals, filmed for blackmailing politicians to do the cabal's bidding. Epstein's suicide was a body swap. Maxwell only survived because she was needed to confess to her scattering of evidence all over the world. One cache was seized last month by the U.S. Space Force loyal to Trump. Trump knew all about the cloning, which is why he never flew on the Lolita Express. Since January 2025, the president has conducted covert operations against these off-grid biotech sites and authorized the enforcement of Directive Genesis lockdown to shut down cloning centers, freeze Gates, assets, and confiscate biometric data banks under QFS jurisdiction. The media was told to bury the story, but patriots put the pieces together. Cloning, trafficking, global control. Gates, the embodiment of genetic enslavement. Maxwell struck the match. The firestorm was on the way, and Trump was carrying the torch. No official time frame has been given Trump's EBS activation, where we will isolate at home for 3-6 weeks, as global martial law suspended the media, internet, phones, and took over TV and radio to present 8-hour documentaries 24/7 about what was going on, while the military took down the Illuminati deep state cabal-controlled governments worldwide and made mass arrests of corrupt global white hats on Telegram. Thought we knew, but didn't really know, and now are supposed to know but don't have a clue. With clones, doubles, made-up movies Hollywood-style, and Trump's military alliance throwing more popcorn at us, it gets so confusing. Professor Deepak states that the COVID vaccines causes cancer. The Pfizer vaccine should have never been approved for use by the public. It caused birth problems and carcinogenicity. It increased age-adjusted mortality. Jim Caviezel on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 2s. 18 Aug. 2026. Breaking, gold never dies. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent reignites the gold standard debate. Gold can't have a budget deficit. Gold can't start a war. AMG News, Com American Media Group 2s. 18 Aug. 2026. Red Code Alert. Category 6 Storm, EBS, White Hats, Fort Knox, the new currency, and the final yard. Ricardo Bossi sounds the alarm video. AMG News, Com American Media Group's possible timing. On Sun. 23 Aug. 2026. Trump was expected to make an address that would declare a total defeat of deep state tyranny, followed by 10 days of communication darkness to finish the mass arrests. Medbed possible timing. Medbed activation on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 on 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 107 JFK Jr. And top White Hat Military Alliance commanders confirmed the live activation of quantum medbeds worldwide after overnight power-up of crystal chambers in every state and 209 nations, proving the cabal's 50-year suppression of extraterrestrial healing technology has finally collapsed under Alliance force. On 2s. 18 Aug. 2026. Quantum crystal frequency medbeds go fully operational across America and the globe under full military protection. Full-body quantum scans complete in 3.2 seconds, mapping every toxin, injury, genetic defect. And vaccine damage. 15 to 30-minute sessions reverse terminal cancers, regrow limbs and organs, restore eyesight and hearing, and reverse aging by decades. Big Pharma death machine crashes overnight. On Wed 19 Aug. 2026, Starlink EBS begins continuous live streams of miraculous recoveries. Veterans walking again, trafficked children restored to perfect health, vaccine-injured families emerging youthful and strong. Trump authorizes free med bed access cards for every patriot and survivor. Remaining cabal medical strongholds seized. Mass arrests of executives who hid the tech accelerate under martial law. On Thursday, 20 Aug. 2026, GESARA and QFS wealth transfers flood new public healing centers in every city. DNA linking and consciousness transfer protocols heal generational trauma and reverse cabal toxin damage. Underground tunnel survivors receive complete regeneration. Pedophile networks funding medical suppression face worldwide tribunals broadcast live. On Friday, 21 Aug. 2026, home med bed units powered by Tesla-free energy begin distribution to registered patriot families. Spinal cords reconnect. Chronic illnesses dissolve completely, and age reversal becomes everyday reality under Alliance Guard. Leaked space program healing footage overwhelms remaining media blackouts as truth explodes. On Sat. 22 Aug. 2026, global free access expands rapidly as every wait list clears and chronic disease vanishes for millions. Zim redemptions fund permanent community med bed hubs. Humanity enters the golden age of unlimited vitality while cabal systems shatter forever. On Sun. 23 Aug. 2026, massive worldwide victory celebrations mark MedBed's permanent online status everywhere. Trump's address declares total defeat of deep state medical tyranny. 10 days of darkness prepare final EBS revelation of every suppressed miracle as patriots rise healed, awakened and free forever. Global currency reset on Thursday. 20 Aug. 2026, Zim redemptions, GESARA and QFS wealth transfers begin. 107 JFK Jr. On Telegram on Moan. 24 Aug. 2026, the ISO 20022 messaging that defines how banks transmit payment information completes its transition across all major banking rails. For the first time in history, SWIFT, Federal Reserve, European Central Bank, Bank of England, BRICS, IMF, and all high-value cross-border payment systems will speak the same transaction language. Tier 4B ISO 20022 on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026, the first week in SEP 2026 redemption centers will start processing live appointments in accordance with full GESARA protocol. The schedule is already being filled with authorized Tier 4B participants, according to sources within 2 U.S. agencies. Nisara Jasara connected on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 Bruce, The Big Call Universe, IBIZ. Com, 667-770-1866 Sun Night 16 Aug. 2026, a redemption center leader checked rates on redemption center screens. Dinar, Dong, Bolivar, and Rufiya had new rates. A redemption center leader, plus an Intel provider, both said they were going to try to do Tier 4B exchanges by the end of this week. If not, Tier 4B notification to set exchange appointments will happen over the weekend. There were med bed centers functioning right now. Treatments were generally less than an hour, including the regeneration of arms and legs. Zim holders and those with dire needs will have access to a med bed within a few days of their currency exchange. The general public will be informed about med beds around 10 days after our exchanges. 70,000 med bed centers with at least 2 med beds each. Got the message yet? On August 24, 2026, the global financial system crosses a threshold from which it cannot return. Christian B. Wallace Tier 4B ISO 20022 on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 on Moan. 24 Aug. 2026, the ISO 20022 messaging that defines how banks transmit payment information completes its transition across all major banking rails. For the first time in history, SWIFT, Federal Reserve, European Central Bank, Bank of England, BRICS, IMF, and all high-value cross-border payment systems will speak the same transaction language. Tier 4B ISO 20022 on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026. This has direct consequences. A real-time transparency. Every payment instruction, every field, every metadata tag is standardized. B. Nowhere to hide. Technical excuses disappear. Outdated formatting disappears. Opaque message. Structures disappear. The entire monetary system becomes visible, and visibility is the biggest weakness from the world's point of view of the fiat system. After the switch is completed on 24/08/26, a debt-based monetary system has nowhere to hide. Every insolvency becomes transparent. Every derivatives mismatch becomes obvious. Fractional reserve systems can no longer hide liquidity holes. Banks cannot create endless synthetic credit, fake monopoly money, behind opaque SWIFT messages. The legacy system becomes fully open and fully traceable. From a strategic standpoint, ISO 20022 is the final step needed before major sovereign systems transition to asset-backed settlements. XRP may serve as collateral for digital assets. On August 24, 2026, the old system becomes transparent, and because it is built entirely on debt, leverage, and the illusion of fractionalization, transparency guarantees its collapse. G. Signed by Trump last night while you were sleeping were two executive orders. One destroys the IRS, the other opens the Federal Reserve payment to electronic assets and non-bank institutions. Nisara Jasara connected on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 1 DSDROIS the IRS. Forever. The DOJ wording, forever barred and precluded from investigating or prosecuting. That's not a break. That's a death certificate for the tax collection arm of the old system. The other opens the Federal Reserve payment rail to electronic assets and non-bank institutions without a banking license. He just opened the door to a system without banks. Why would you kill the IRS unless you've already replaced the system of collection? QFS went live May 8 in 209 countries, midnight running parallel to SWIFT. All sovereign citizens are getting a quantum ledger tied to their birth certificate bond, the value they stole from you the day you were born. Since 1933, your birth certificate has been traded as a security. Your social security number is a bond tracer number. Each human being is worth between $100,000 and $450,000 in stolen compound interest, illegal debt, and stolen labor value. Jasara Article 21, debt nullification, is being calculated now. Every single mortgage, every student loan, all of them. Every medical bill charged with illegal compound interest since 1971 is being calculated and entered into your ledger as you read this. The gold is in Fort Knox, 147.3 million Oz, but the audit team that entered on March 14 under Executive Order 14,271 found more. Vatican Bank came back with gold, Bank of England, Basel, nothing at all on any public ledger. Ref, KNOX Audit 202603114 Sigma, total value, not $692 billion, $43 trillion. That is the gold that is the backing for your new money. Trump said, I want to see the gold because he wants you to ask WHY. The answer, the gold is there and $43 trillion more and it is yours. Tier 4B alert started 96 hours ago. Redemption centers were set up at 800 locations. Waiting for one sign, Trump walking into Fort Knox on camera and opening that 20-ton door. He opens it, and the EBS fires. The QFS locks. The EBS fires. When the QFS locks your debt, it vanishes. When your debt is paid off, you are free. They held you in bondage for 53 years. Each dollar you owed was a lie. Every payment of interest was a theft. The guy who said they steal a lot about to show it live on TV. The door OPNS once. Follow T/me/US Treasury official. The old financial system is dead. The new system is live. XRP is the currency of the new world. Trump is leading the reset. 107 JFK Jr. On Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 join now, https://tme/107tg July 2026. The financial revolution is happening. Banks are collapsing. The old system is failing. The new system is rising. The old system dies. The Federal Reserve has controlled money for 113 years through debt slavery. The dollar is worthless. The banking system is corrupt. The financial institutions are criminals. The people are awake. The people are ready. The people are demanding change. The new system rises. NESARAGSARA is activated. The quantum financial system is live. The old financial order is finished. XRP is the currency of the new world. Ripple has joined SWIFT. XRP adoption is accelerating. Banks are switching to XRP. The XRP ledger now holds $4.18 billion in tokenized real-world assets. This is 344% increase in 5 months. This is exponential growth. The XRP explosion. July 10, 2026, XRP bullish technical setup. Robinhood chain recorded 433 million in 24-hour DEX volume. July 12, 2026, XRP ETFs launched. ProShares targeting July 14 for 3 XRP futures-based ETFs. Forbes ranks XRP as the 4th best cryptocurrency to buy, behind only Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB. Finance experts predict XRP soaring to $1,000+. This is institutional adoption. The bank collapse, banks are panicking. The old system is crumbling. The financial institutions are dying. SWIFT is being replaced by XRP. Central banks are switching to blockchain. The petrodollar is finished. The Federal Reserve is powerless. The banking cartel is broken. The financial elite are terrified. The gold standard RETURNS, gold is backing the new currency. Precious metals are the foundation. Real value is RESTURD. Gold prices at $4,069 per ounce. Silver surging, platinum rising. The precious metals market is EXPLODNG. This is not accident. This is strategic. This is the return to sound money. Trump is leading the reset. Trump activated NESARAGSARA. Trump is forcing the financial system reset. Trump is ending the Federal Reserve's control. The new financial system is transparent. The new financial system is fair. The new financial system is decentralized. This is freedom. This is justice. This is the end of financial slavery. The moment, this is the biggest financial revolution in human history. This is the moment the old system collapses. This is the moment the new system rises. The banks are dying. The elite are panicking. The people are winning. Trump is winning. The financial system is being reset. The new era is beginning. Share this everywhere. The old financial system is dead. XRP is the future. The new era has begun. The Great Awakening is not coming. It is already here. Web 3.0 ISO 20022 on Telegram for decades. Humanity has lived inside a carefully constructed illusion. A prison made of money, lies, and silence. You were told that sickness is normal, that poverty is natural, that wars are inevitable. But beneath the surface, a different reality has been prepared. QFS, the quantum financial system, the bankers thought they could enslave the world forever with fiat paper and digital codes. They fed us inflation, debt, and endless interest. But the QFS is alive. It is not coming. It has already begun operating silently, replacing the rotten structure of SWIFT. Every hidden transaction, every corrupt transfer, every shadow deal, recorded, sealed, irreversible. Medbeds, the technology they hid from you. Imagine a chamber where the body's blueprint is restored, every cell recalibrated, every disease erased, cancers dissolved, organs regenerated, age reversed. This is not science fiction. These are Tesla-based technologies locked away in underground bases, denied to you while trillions were wasted on pharma and war. Now, for the first time, whispers rise. The veil is lifting, and the medbeds are prepared to enter humanity's timeline. EBS, the emergency broadcast system. When the blackout comes, it will not be chaos. It will be clarity. The world will go silent, only to awaken with one unified transmission. The truths hidden for generations will be spoken without censorship, broadcast across every screen, every device. The lies will die in real time. Humanity is about to cross a threshold that no empire, no secret cabal, no black project can stop. The old system is burning down. The new system is already breathing. This is why the tension feels unbearable. The air itself is charged, vibrating with anticipation. Many sense it but cannot name it. You feel it in your chest at night, in your dreams, in the moments when the world glitches for a second and reality feels thinner. Remember this, you are not here by accident. You were chosen to live in this timeline, to witness the fall of Babylon and the rise of the Golden Age. Do not let fear blind you. Do not let doubt silence you. Share this transmission. Spread it like fire. Those who are asleep must see the signs. Those who are awake must prepare. Because the moment of the Great Reset is not a question of if. It is only a question of when. And when it strikes, nothing will ever be the same again. The great silence before the signal. For months, the system has been whispering. Bank terminals flicker. Satellites recalibrate. Power grids stutter for seconds, then return as if nothing happened. To the untrained eye, glitches. To those who know, signals. What you're witnessing is not chaos. It's the final rewiring of the global network. The quantum financial system, QFS, is no longer a concept locked in secret halls. It breathes. It pulses. It's being tested in shadows while the old fiat corp still pretends to be alive. Every transaction you've made in recent weeks already passed through nodes you were never told exist. The banks you still see on the street are facades, like empty shells of a dead organism. Inside the core, quantum settlement, asset-backed transfers, incorruptible code. And what comes with QFS? GESARA, NESARA, debt release, restoration of stolen wealth, funding for suppressed technologies, medbeds, free energy, hidden cures. This is why the silence feels so heavy, because once the switch flips, there will be no turning back. Watch for these markers, lights cutting out in government buildings for minutes at a time. News anchors losing audio simultaneously across networks. Sudden revaluation of currencies in small, insignificant nations. An unexpected global message looping across every screen. When it hits, remember this. The storm isn't coming. The storm is already here. You're just waiting for the broadcast.
Right, I have another question here that I really wanted to get to. The EBS, what does that look like? Is it, ABC, NBC, all of them just being pulled down, being reined in, or are we actually going to have like an actually alert go off on our phones, on our television sets, where it says, this is an emergency broadcast system, beep, beep, that kind of thing. Is that what it's going to look like, or how is the EBS going to look?
Okay, a couple of things. The intricacies, the details are not being, you're not going to get to hear those. There's nobody in the public side going to get all the minutia of those details. That will play out like a chess game. There's options, there's times, there's timing, okay? Just like a lot of people would like to have had Trump do the Insurrection Act back there in 2020, in December 2020. But in gaming this out, there's ways you can proceed forward that have prayer of winning, because we're actually in a state of war. And there's ways you can blow the whole country apart, take it off the rails, stop business in America, as Reagan said, the business of America is business, and actually cause real damage that we might not be able to fix in our lifetime. So there's keeping tension on the lines. Like an old business partner I had, he said, it's all about fishing. Everything was about fishing. You got to keep tension on the line. You can't pull the hook out of the fish's mouth. You can't let them spit the hook out. You got to keep tension on the line. You got to play the fish, let them wear them out. That's a lot of what's happening here. And the EBS, I don't personally believe in gaming this out. I'm just trying to give you my perspective, and everybody here is just going to have to think about it and, literally pray about it and understand. The powers that be, if you will, Trump and the people who invited Trump to run. Trump has said that he was invited to run. Who invited him? 200 generals. Well, we have about 800 generals in the American system. So that's about a quarter, plus flag officers, admirals. And so there's people in the background that are working with, coaching, helping to game through this. Literally, actions and reactions. They make a move, we make a move, are being gamed out hourly. to make sure that we don't blow the country apart, don't blow the world apart. So at this point, the election's already compromised. As Navarro said, full stop. There you go, full stop. That's what the option is, full stop. So hold on, let me give you your EBS answer. So the point is, though, with an EBS at the same moment that you do that, probably not likely. Okay, that probably comes later, because as all of these militant operations that you're talking about, people start coming out of the woodwork, screaming bloody murder about the paused election. That'll probably take a little time to develop. It's probably a little further along the way. And at the point that it gets choked back to some certain point, what's really happening under a military command structure. If people start acting out like that, they won't get arrested and go to the judge and go to the judicial system. What Trump is announcing is that we're in a state of war, and enemy forces have infiltrated here in the country. So if you get arrested for acts of violence or trying to disrupt, your city, your location, etc., in any way, when you get arrested, you're going into a military detention location, and your trial isn't in 3 days. You're informed of your right to go before a judge. It can be indefinite. It probably will take a few days to weeks to months as they process some of these people. And again, you're in a national security emergency. Any acts like that will be treated completely differently.
Can you imagine
environment?
Can you imagine the stupid rebellious teenagers that are going to hit the streets and not know any better?
Well, but that's part of the reason I'm having this conversation with you, Nino. I'm trying to help them to understand and let the word soak out through parents, friends, family, coworkers, that you need to think again. That's what this audience is about, Nino, is trying to bring some sanity. You could have all sorts of people on as guests, and they're going to blow up houses, kick in doors. It's going to be gunfights in the streets, blah, blah, blah. I actually don't envision that, and for cause. American people on the whole are pretty straight and stable. You may have some locations that are off the rocker and that are more concentrated with some of these people and these ideas where they've been helped by local politicians to go, off the rails. We'll have to sequester them off like we did Fallujah in Iraq, 3 fences deep, and, strip search them when they come out, make sure they haven't got anything. If they want to leave, pamphlet the whole area, surrender or else. But that actually, this is a big country, and I don't want people running around unnecessarily in some state of panic. Is Trump, are the military, the generals and the other people around Trump, you have, it's all over the place. If there's 4 of them, 3 of them are, questionable, but of those 3, maybe one's the bad one. Most of them actually are going to go the right direction and take orders and do what they're supposed to do to keep the country stable. But those that can't do that will be dealt with very quickly, and they will not go to the county jail. They will go to a location where they're processed, and they're going to ride this out in a fenced-in location, and we'll get to them as we can get to them. And by the way, at that point, if you're going to declare some kind of expansion of the national emergency that already exists, and it's not a new national emergency, it is the COVID national emergency. Trump doesn't have to declare a new emergency; he just has to tie it to a pause in the election because of what's going on.
Save the Children. In 1992, Sinead O'Connor revealed a network of pedophiles and their protectors. She was a victim herself, and to protest, ripped up a photo of John Paul II that ended her career. We now have a circulating photo of John Paul II blessing Epstein. She was right all the time. What we think we know as of 2s, 19 Aug, 2026. Moan, 17 Aug, 2026 skiff goes silent as Kennedy exposes 7 years of lies. https://www youtube.com/watch v=nz oop gone moan. 17 Aug. 2026 Trump issued a stark warning after sensitive information about a covert U.S. operation in Iran was reportedly leaked, while an American F-15 pilot was missing. Trump argued the disclosure endangered the pilot by alerting Iranian forces and civilians, saying authorities are aggressively searching for the source. He said the media organization involved could be pressured to identify the leaker, declaring, "Give it up or go to jail." Monroe Doctrine 2. Trump's strategy is portrayed as a sweeping effort to reassert U.S. dominance across the Western Hemisphere. Cartels are treated as national security threats, while China, Russia, and Iran are framed as competing for strategic influence. Venezuela, Guyana, and Colombia form a crucial geopolitical triangle involving oil, military access, and regional power. The central message: this is presented as more than a drug war. It's a battle over who controls the hemisphere. Martial law on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026, the conservative province of Alberta, Canada, is voting to begin the process of seceding from Canada on October 19th. If it succeeds, Alberta will begin the process of seceding, pending a final vote next year. SEC. SCOTTBSSENT has ENCOURAGD Alberta, nodding they want sovereignty from the leftists in Canada. 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 Hollywood only called Mitchell Jackson a pedophile because he was the only one who wasn't one. He owned half of Sony, exposed Tommy Mottola as a straight-up devil, and refused to be their puppet. So the Illuminati destroyed him. He was 100% innocent. 107 JFK Jr. On Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 Bill Gates' daughter faces 20 years in prison as evidence exposes massive billionaire fraud scheme. Phoebe Gates's billion-dollar startup company, FIA, has been accused of cookie stuffing, artificially inflating web traffic to defraud customers, influencers, and investors. Now she could be heading to jail. When is Bill getting charged? Gitmo TV on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 another Democrat arrested for fraud, charged with $1.5 million pandemic loan fraud and money laundering. The people who really needed the money during COVID never got it, while these Democrat crooks got millions and spent it on everything except what it was supposed to be used for. Mayor of Lawrence, Massachusetts, Brian DePina, is charged with 1 count of wire fraud and 1 count of money laundering for obtaining over $1.5 million in COVID small business loans and using the proceeds to fund his campaign account, pay personal taxes, and pay off over $880,000 in high-interest, hard money mortgages that encumbered various properties he owned in Lawrence. EBS Emergency Broadcast System on Telegram.
Tuesday, August 18th, emergency report. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. officially ends emergency liability protection for COVID-19 vaccine makers. The shield is gone. AMG News. Tuesday, August 18th, breaking medical news. FDA loses in court. Agency forced to delete anti-ivermectin campaigns after historic federal ruling. The FDA is not a doctor. AMG News. Tuesday, August 18th, exclusive. The AI vaccine frontline. Russia unleashes custom mRNA cancer weapon against melanoma. A new era of algorithmic medicine begins. AMG News. Tuesday, August 18th, breaking health alert. Are you experiencing brain fog? Doctors sound alarm on brain fog surge. Know the signs before it's too late. AMG News. Tuesday, August 18th, boom, Archbishop Vigano drops nuclear truth bomb. Names global elite in crimes against humanity.
Iran is reportedly considering strikes on US military targets in Europe if the conflict with Washington escalates further. According to the Financial Times, potential targets being discussed include US-linked military assets in Cyprus and Bulgaria.
This is all part of the awakening. And Iran, a country I know well, that most Americans couldn't point out on a map, is a country full of very, very good and nice people. They're kind people, they're fun people, there's a great sense of humor that they have, and they're very beautiful. But the people that have led them, that were installed in Iran by Mossad, Israel, and the US corporation, are truly evil. And that is what Trump is dismantling. The part that is in Iran that is truly evil. Iran is a beautiful empire that has never fallen, and it won't fall because of its history and the way that it's set up. They're good people. But what is being uninstalled and dismantled is the system that was installed to destabilize them because they refused to be a part of the international banking system. Oh, and by the way, Iran is on the road to joining BRICS. It's virtually installed, and Iraq is doing the same thing. And this is literally the final nail in the coffin of the Federal Reserve, which is part of the corporation. And the dismantling of US military bases will continue. It started in the Middle East, where missiles hit military bases. It will continue in Europe to dismantle the US military bases, because if they're not dismantled, they'll be used again. That's going on right now in plain sight. So don't be scared. This is all part of the dismantling of the old system. You are living in the Third World War, but the missiles are attacking the old bases and the old system. They're not attacking the people. So I would advise you to stay well clear of any US military bases wherever you are in the world. You know, if you go to Dubai, don't go anywhere near the military bases or the embassy. That's just sound advice, common sense. My next story is very interesting because it hasn't hit the mainstream media. 6 judges, top-level judges in America, have been arrested. Many lawyers have been arrested. Nothing in mainstream media. But this is all part of the dismantling of a corrupt system. Little word of advice for the new lawyers and the new judges. You're all having to go back to college, back to school, and learn what real law is, common law, not maritime law, not your naughty little book of Black's Dictionary where you twist the words. We're going back to God's law, the law of the land. So if you want to be ahead of the game, start training in God's law, common law, because maritime law is the law of the seas, and you're not a fish. Drew.
Next up, the SEC has proposed a major new regulatory framework that could make it easier for crypto companies to issue tokens and raise money legally. The proposal includes new exemptions and a potential safe harbor from securities rules. It's not final yet, but this is one of the biggest regulatory shifts for US crypto so far.
There's so much going on in the financial world right now. I mean, there is a number of major banks that are on the verge of collapse, and we're seeing the digital world move in. I've spoken to 4 banks in the last 7 days, and they're aware of what is going on, but they're not allowed to talk about it. And when I say I've talked to banks, I've talked at director level, not at teller level. I've talked at the top to the CEOs. They know what's coming down. Most of the team haven't got a clue. There is a very, very small group of people that have been informed and educated on how this system is going to change. And the reason they're not telling people is because most of them are going to lose their jobs. So they don't want to create unnecessary panic. It's coming. It's not far away. And this is why I urge you to protect what you have. And as I said yesterday, that if you're a European, there's a 500-page document where they want to bring in a 90% wealth tax. Well, that doesn't bother me because I'm not wealthy. I've got no money. And I'm not telling them if I have. This is where common sense comes in. When you've got a corrupt organization trying to steal from you, why would you tell them? Why would you tell them anything? Be wise. Be clever. In the old days, when I grew up, and Drew knows this as well, she's not as old as me, by the way. It's not the lighting, she's not as old. But parents used to hide money under the bed. They used to hide gold under the bed. They never told anybody about it. But now we believe we have to tell them everything. That's foolish. Use common sense.
Collapse of media. For decades, the media called itself the Fourth Estate, the guardian of truth, the voice of the people. In reality, it was the loudspeaker of the cabal, scripted anchors, staged debates, and carefully engineered illusions. But the broadcast towers are no longer theirs. The silence has already begun. EBS on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 at 01:44 GMT, 3 major networks simultaneously glitched. This was not accident. This was purge. CNN looped the same weather map for 77 minutes. BBC broadcasted a 9-second clip on repeat across all channels. Fox News showed nothing but an empty studio feed. What is happening behind the SCENES archive servers have been seized. Decades of news are vanishing overnight. Internal communications confirm entire editorial boards were dismissed without announcement. Anchors are disappearing, officially on vacation, but their desks remain empty. Streaming platforms quietly pulled thousands of documentaries and investigative reports. The narrative is collapsing in real time. The same voices that lectured you for years are no longer speaking. Why it matters? Because media was never just news. It was the operating system of mass control. It told you what to fear, who to trust, where to march, and when to obey. Without the media grid, their empire cannot function. The collapse is not simply silence. It is the erasure of their script. What comes next? Do not expect the return of normal programming. Expect looped confessions of journalists under oath. Tribunal testimony played in place of late-night comedy. Screens showing the same message, the same footage, the same truth everywhere at once. Your favorite anchors will not return. Your talk shows will not resume. The stage is burned. The actors are gone. Next marker 9.5 entire studios will go black, not just channels. Networks will dissolve. Broadcasters will resign en masse. They will call it failure. They will say it was budget cuts. But the truth is simpler. The media has been tried. The verdict is guilty. The sentence is silence. When the screens go black, the truth goes live.
Media has MK Ultra'd much of society. Most people really don't even grasp just how much they're programmed day to day to day. Remember, Google did the testimony there at Congress, and one of the technical people said in their analysis that they could flip 15 million votes just by the way that they run their search engines from one party to another, one candidate to another. 15 million votes. That's unbelievable. And with AI augmentation, and then you throw events in there. You have an event here, an event there that affects the world, and it can push the vote one way or the other also. So it's we're in a very dangerous moment where, for example, who owns 51% of California Artists Academy, CAA, the largest group there in Hollywood, hiring out the actors and promoting movies and things like that. Well, if China's controlling that aspect of the information we see through movies and things like that, that's a very big deal. And so it can affect your perspective on life. You add to that the news stations. So look at what happened with ABC, CBS, and MSNBC. They didn't want to cover the Trump speech. CBS covered part of it and then stopped. Why is that relevant? Because they're trying to affect the way that we think and shape that, bringing a sledgehammer to it if they have to stop you from hearing things that they don't want you to hear. or the way that, for example, that Trump would say it. They want to take anything he says and regurgitate it their way. Well, this is what this.
Gilgamesh, Hillary, and the Nephilim. JFK Awakening on Telegram, Tuesday, August 18, 2026. The U.S. military's search for ancient relics, and Hillary's interest in Gilgamesh, and the search for the bodies of the biblical buried Nephilim. Is this why the U.S. really went to war in Iraq? On December 13, 2018, a leak from the FOIA release of State Department emails allegedly claimed that Hillary Clinton was requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body, and the location of the buried Nephilim. This should explain their beliefs with Baal and Moloch, the gods of child sacrifice, as both are mentioned in the Bible and go back centuries. The tomb of Gilgamesh was found by an archaeologist by the name of Jorg Fassbinder using LiDAR. It was all mentioned all over the media at the time it was going to be open to live, and answers would hopefully be given about our history from DNA samples. Immediately after, in 2003, the U.S. military invades Iraq. The military kicked out Jorg Fassbinder and his team and quarantined the area. They then brought in trucks, set up an entire military base at the excavation site, dug all throughout the night, and took the tomb and anything else they found. The story completely vanished from the media and was never talked about again. Why was Hillary Clinton so interested in Gilgamesh and the buried Nephilim? What do they know? What did they find out from the DNA samples? And you still question who these people really are and what they believe in. The writing is on the wall.
$40 trillion debt bombshell. America enters the danger zone. $3 billion a day in interest as Treasury yields erupt. U.S. Treasury Center on Telegram 2s. 18 Aug. 2026. Breaking special report. America is approaching a financial threshold once considered unimaginable. The U.S. national debt is closing in on $40 trillion. Borrowing costs are surging, and Washington's interest bill is approaching $3 billion every single day. This is no longer simply about a giant number on the debt clock. The cost of carrying the debt itself is becoming the story. The $40 trillion line U.S. federal debt is now within striking distance of the historic $40 trillion barrier. At the same time, Washington recorded a staggering $432 billion deficit in July alone. Through the first 10 months of fiscal 2026, the deficit has reached approximately $1.8 trillion, with the full-year figure projected around $2.1 trillion. America isn't merely carrying enormous debt. It is continuing to add to it at extraordinary speed. The real-time bomb, interest between October 2025 and July 2026, net federal interest costs reached approximately $963 billion, approaching $3 billion per day. That money doesn't build factories, roads, or infrastructure. It services yesterday's debt. And as older government debt matures and is refinanced at today's higher rates, the pressure grows. Wall Street just sent a warning. Another signal has emerged from the Treasury market. A recent auction of 30-year U.S. government bonds produced a yield above 5.2%, the highest auction yield for that maturity since 2001. That matters because higher yields mean Washington must pay more to borrow. The combination is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. More debt, bigger deficits, higher interest costs, more expensive refinancing. The debt machine feeds itself. This is where the cycle becomes dangerous. Washington runs deficits and issues more debt. That debt creates additional interest costs. Higher interest expenses increase federal spending pressure, potentially requiring still more borrowing. Debt creates interest. Interest creates spending pressure. Spending pressure creates more debt. And when the starting point is nearly $40 trillion, even small changes in borrowing costs can eventually translate into enormous sums. America AT, the crossroads. The question is no longer whether America will cross $40 trillion. The real question is what happens afterward, if trillion-dollar interest bills, multi-trillion-dollar deficits, and expensive long-term borrowing become the new normal. Because somewhere between $40 trillion in debt and $3 billion a day in interest, America's debt problem stops being an abstract number. It becomes a race between American economic growth and the cost of Washington's accumulated debt. Boom! The Kennedy prophecy, Trump reposts JFK's chilling warning to America, the ruthless conspiracy working from within exposed. Trump office on Telegram twos. 18 Aug. 2026 Donald Trump has ignited a firestorm across the Patriot movement by sharing President John F. Kennedy's prophetic warning about a ruthless conspiracy determined to destroy the nation from within. The statement, delivered decades ago, now lands with devastating clarity in the present moment as millions recognize the exact same forces still operating in the shadows. Kennedy addressed the severe danger of subversive activities targeting national security from inside the United States. He made clear that Americans must remain continually alert against those who work to sabotage the country from within. We should support the laws which the United States has passed in order to protect us from those who would destroy us from within, Kennedy declared, stressing that a strong and vigilant society can defeat any internal enemy. The heart of the warning unmasks an adversary that never marches with conventional armies. Instead, it advances through infiltration, choosing covert expansion over open invasion. It substitutes subversion for free elections and intimidation for free choice. Kennedy described a tightly organized, highly efficient machine that fuses military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations into one coordinated system. Its preparations stay hidden, its errors are buried, and its dissenters are silenced. The entire apparatus runs with a wartime discipline no free democracy was ever meant to match. By elevating these words, Trump is drawing a direct line between the conspiracy Kennedy confronted and the globalist network patriots face today. The same monolithic structure that rejects democratic values continues to push its agenda through institutions, media, and bureaucracies. The multi-generational struggle for America's soul is now reaching its decisive phase. Where Kennedy asked whether national security restraints must be more strictly observed to counter this kind of internal attack, Trump is supplying the resolve and the results the people have demanded. The patriot community has answered with overwhelming force. The globalist elements who embedded themselves inside the system are running out of time and cover. Kennedy's warning stands as living proof that truth cannot be permanently suppressed. The infiltration is being dragged into the light, the machinery is being dismantled, and the victory of the American people is closer than at any point in recent memory. The prophecy is no longer history. It is the battle plan of the present hour. JAG arrests dormant deep stater, no statute of limitations on treason, Juan 07 JFK Jr. On Telegram twos. 18 Aug. 2026, the U.S. Navy Judge Advocate General's Corps has arrested another dormant deep stater responsible for the long-debunked Steele dossier and Operation Russiagate, which weaponized the Department of Justice against President Donald J. Trump in July 2016. On Wednesday, August 12, JAG investigators apprehended Elizabeth Dibble, former Deputy Chief of Mission at the U.S. Embassy in London, at her residence in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Elizabeth Dibble remained largely unknown until sources at JAG's primary office at Naval Air Station, Pensacola, informed of her arrest. The indictment ties Dibble to the origins of the FBI's 2016 Trump-Russia probe. In May 2016, Australian High Commissioner Alexander Downer met Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos in a London bar. After WikiLeaks released hacked Democratic emails in July 2016, Australian officials contacted the State Department's Deputy Chief of Mission in London, Dibble's position, about the conversation. This tip helped open Crossfire Hurricane. The tip proved a product of Dibble's imagination. Papadopoulos never mentioned Russia or Clinton. Downer claimed Papadopoulos supplied proof that Trump and Vladimir Putin concocted stories to sink Clinton's campaign. Dibble told then FBI Director James Comey that Trump and Putin were in cahoots to tank Clinton's bid and that the Steele dossier was authentic. Compiled by former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele and funded by the Clinton campaign and DNC via Fusion GPS, the dossier was discredited. President Trump and acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen authored an indictment against Dibble on January 15, 2020, days before Trump departed the White House for Mar-a-Lago. When he ceded provisional control to the military, he handed JAG the paperwork. Why JAG took 6 years remains unclear. Better late than never. At 11, 11:00 p.m. on August 12, JAG personnel and military police set up a perimeter around Dibble's home. Loudspeakers announced a valid military arrest warrant and ordered her to exit. When no response came, agents forced entry with smoke and CS grenades, then breached the doors. Dibble, 69, coughed and rubbed her bloodshot eyes as agents encircled her. "What's this about?" she asked. "Treason," the lead JAG officer replied.
18th, 2026, Russia shipping drones, explosives to rebuild Iran's supply after U.S.-Israeli strikes. According to reports, we're hearing that they are preparing for escalation. Now, we had heard speculation that Russia might be getting involved in the conflict. Take a look. About a month ago, had Russia helped Iran target CIA sites in the Gulf? Reports of Iran targeting sites belonging to U.S.'s CIA first emerged in the early days of the U.S.-Israelis war with Iran, and we're hearing that Russia could not only be supplying intel, but now, as of today, we're hearing also supplying them with bombs and drones to further escalate the conflict. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, in addition to that, we are hearing, take a look at this, Iran threatens new offensive while the U.S. rules out extending the ceasefire deal. We are hearing that Iran has now put a bounty on the heads of U.S. troops, saying that if any Iranian kills a U.S. troop, they get $30,000, or if they capture them, or if a woman captures or kills a U.S. troop, they get $60,000. Now, in addition to that, we've also heard that they have said that there will be cyber attacks all around the world, specifically as well in the United States of America. And we've been seeing attacks on our water systems, attacks on various cities. There have also been threats by the IRGC to take out our power grids as well. We're hearing that they are saying they're preparing to escalate this further, positioning their leadership in the IRGC to begin an offensive against the United States. And we're hearing that those leaders specialize in terrorist attacks. Now, take a look here. Trump says there currently are no planned talks with Iran. So talks have totally fallen apart. Tehran says the Strait of Hormuz still is shut. Now, Donald Trump also threatens to bomb Oman, with Iran war stuck in a stalemate as 60-day negotiation period has come to an end. And take a look at this, coming out today as well, 3 hours ago, updated. The UAE says 2 missiles detected earlier were launched from Iran towards them. So we're hearing that not only is Iran preparing to attack, they are also starting to initiate in various parts of the region. And take a look at this. Baseless. Iran rejects the UAE's claims of 2 ballistic missiles from Tehran as Trump holds a call with the UAE president. And take a look at this as well. Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law, aide to Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, gives Hamas a stark ultimatum: disarm or Israel gets U.S. backing to finish the job.
Either someone's screwing with CERN right now, or someone's playing the harp, if you get what I'm saying. Everything I'm showing you in this video is happening over the last 24 to 48 hours. And there's more, a lot more, and some of it even looks just downright bizarre. So obviously, clearly, this is not lightning. I mentioned CERN, not related of course, because we've seen when CERN fires up, sometimes it does the same exact thing in the sky, just all these different lights and glitches happening right above us. And there's 2 different videos of 2 different locations, the same exact weird glitch thing happening at the same exact time in the sky. The next one I'm about to show you, it looks like reality itself was split open in the sky out by the ocean. But right before we get to that, we're doing shipping this week for our Conspiracy Mail Club, where we take photocopies out of pages of really old books and really crazy topics we probably shouldn't be looking at. And I send them to your physical mailbox every single month. We're also doing the giveaway and raffle that you can enter for free. To get info on the Mail Club or the raffle, just say Mail Club or raffle in the comments and I'll reply, or hit the pin comment. Now check this out. This is clearly not the sun. It was recorded real time. This is a video. There's no circle the light was emulating from. It's like there's a tear right in reality, its freaking self. But of course, people are still going to claim that, oh, it's a boat, or oh, it's the sun, because their brain's too challenged by all these things they don't know. They rather say it's something they do know so they can sleep at night. If I had to guess, someone's rocking out with a harp. By the way, on white.
Vatican and Mother Teresa found running international child sex trafficking ring of Ninth Circle satanic child sacrifice cult. And this is from Dr. Seuss. Oh, the places you'll go. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know. And you are the one who'll decide where to go.
Judy note. 12 years ago on 31 March 2014, the Vatican's connection to child sex trafficking and satanic child sacrifice pedophile rites first came to light when the International Common Law Court of Justice, ICLCJ, convened to consider child trafficking charges against members of the Vatican. Such cruel practices were found organized on a global level by the Vatican's Ninth Circle satanic child sacrifice cult. On file at the International Common Law Court of Justice in Brussels were Vatican documents dated Dec. 25, 1967, taken from the Vatican archives, that said before each new pope assumed office, it was mandatory that they participate in Ninth Circle satanic rites of pedophilia and child sacrifice. The documents referred to ceremonial murder of newborn children and consumption of their blood in rites referred to as the magisterial privilege. Kevin Annett's International Tribunal into Crimes of Church and State, ITCCS, had brought the charges against Vatican Pope Francis, Jesuit Superior General Adolfo Pachon, Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby, and former Pope Joseph Ratzinger. Son. 23 March 2014 Popes, Vatican satanic cult Ninth Circle exposed, going to court crime all-stars before its news over the next 3-year period, and in 2 separate trials, 36 eyewitnesses to child rape, torture, and murder by Catholic priests and Vatican authorities testified before the 6 international court judges telling of the Vatican Ninth Circle satanic cult satanic rites. A witness claimed they saw former popes Joseph Ratzinger and John Paul II participate in Vatican satanic cult rituals known as the Ninth Circle, that torture and murder children. George Dufort of the Brussels International Court announced. According to a deposition filed in court by a former member of the Ninth Circle, the cult practices at Catholic cathedrals and a Forest Grove Inn. That makes 3 eyewitnesses who say former Pope Joseph Ratzinger was present during ritual torture and murder of children as part of a cult known as the Ninth Circle. Kevin Annett of the ITCCS confirmed. Murder rituals evidently took place in 1987 and 2002 at locations in France and Holland. According to witnesses testifying at the International Court trial, the former Pope Ratzinger has been a member of Ninth Circle, also known as the Corona Novum or Crown, since at least 1962. I saw Pope Emeritus Joseph Ratzinger murder a little girl, stated another witness on Oct. 28, 2013. It was at a French chateau in the fall of 1987. It was ugly, horrible, and didn't happen just once. Ratzinger, Dutch Cardinal Ulfrank, and Prince Bernhard were some of the more prominent men who took. The allegations confirmed what Dutch therapist and eyewitness Toos Nijenhuis told Annett a few months prior. Toos claimed that as a child she also was forced to witness child murders that involved Ratzinger, Ulfrank, and Bernhard. 2 child abuse survivors reported attending child murder rites in the catacombs beneath the Vatican. At the tender age of 12, Svali of San Diego County said she was taken into the catacombs beneath the Vatican to witness the sacrifice of a 3-4-year-old drugged boy. Her interviewer responded that 24 years prior, a Maria also claimed to have witnessed a satanic murder rite in the Vatican catacombs. The International Court eventually ruled that both popes and the numerous Vatican and Catholic personnel charged were guilty of holding regular rape and child sacrifice rites at private estates and Catholic cathedrals in various countries across the world, including in the U.S. The ICCJ court proceedings could explain why the Vatican has made such an effort to cover up Catholic priest and nun child abuse. As of Nov 12, 2013, and with an estimated 10% of victims reporting, there were a documented 10,077,574 survivors of Catholic child sex abuse across the globe. With Catholic authorities refusing to cooperate with investigations and settling a few cases out of court, only a handful of those Catholic Church perpetrators have seen the inside of a jail cell. No statistics of Catholic priest child abuse have been allowed on the internet since 2013. More recently, the great whistleblower Julian Assange revealed that it was Mother Teresa who actually ran the Vatican's child sex trafficking ring through her Calcutta operation. Between 1962 and 1997, Teresa's missionaries of charity processed over 3 million orphans through 517 homes in 100-plus countries. She didn't save those children. She sold them. Assange revealed that, for 45 years, the world called Mother Teresa a living saint. Nobel Peace Prize, blessed by 3 popes, worshipped by billions. Yet she was running the largest child trafficking pipeline in history for the Vatican. Babies were taken from mothers who were told their children died at birth. Adoption papers were signed by nuns with no government oversight. Children were shipped to wealthy families in Europe and America for $15,000 to $50,000 each. The estimated annual revenue, $50 to $100 million tax-free, unaudited, untraceable monies found their way to the Vatican Bank. The Vatican Bank processed $8 billion in anonymous donations through Teresa's network between 1970 and 1997 alone. The Ninth Circle organization was vast and covered the globe. Baby Doc Duvalier, Haitian dictator, gave Teresa access to orphanages across Haiti. The same Haiti that feeds children into the Epstein pipeline today. Charles Keating, criminal banker, donated $1.25 million to Teresa. She wrote a personal letter to the judge begging for his release. The money came from stolen savings of 23,000 Americans. Robert Maxwell, father of Ghislaine Maxwell, media mogul, connected to Teresa through Vatican fundraising channels. His daughter became Epstein's chief recruiter. Hillary Clinton co-founded a toddler home in Washington, D.C. with Teresa in 1995. The home was quietly shut down in 2012. No records of where the children went. The Epstein connection, Haiti right arrow, Dominican Republic right arrow, Virgin Islands. This was Epstein's route, but it was Teresa's route 30 years earlier. The orphanages she built became the supply chain for what came after. Brunel used her agencies. Maxwell used her contacts. Epstein used her infrastructure. She built the machine. They just turned it on. In 2017, police in the country of India raided a missionaries of charity home in Ranchi. They found nuns selling bobbies for $1,800 each. The Vatican's response: silence. Why, they were in on it. The Nobel Prize, the sainthood, the hospitals named after her, all of it a cover for the greatest child trafficking operation ever constructed. 3 million orphans, 0 accountability, 1 saint. Pope Francis fast-tracked Teresa's sainthood in 2016, 1 year before the missionaries of charity raid. They canonized her to make her untouchable. Of note was that Mother Teresa, or perhaps more accurately labeled as Father, was the mother-father of Dr. Anthony Fauci of COVID-19 and its killer vaccine. What we thought we knew, but didn't really know and now are supposed to know but don't have a clue. With clones, doubles, made-up movies Hollywood-style, and Trump's military alliance throwing more popcorn at us, it gets so confusing. Chemotherapy is mustard gas, a toxic chemical weapon banned in 1925 for being too inhumane and outlawed as a weapon of war. Then Big Pharma took it, rebranded it as chemotherapy, and started injecting it into people for profit. 74% of doctors say they would refuse chemo for themselves. Only 17% of oncologists would take it even for painful bone cancer. Real 5-year survival rate from chemo, just 3%. Chemo liquids are so deadly they're handled as BIOHAZARDS. Nurses wear full hazmat gear. 305 presently serving FBI agents arrested for involvement in CCP infiltration, adrenochrome clinics. Moan. 17 Aug. 2026 Situation Update. Video. WTPN Situation Update featuring Restored Republic and more.
In the last few days, 305 serving FBI agents have been arrested for being involved with adrenochrome clinics. Now, that in itself sounds bad, but it gets worse. All of these 305 arrests just happen to have dual citizenship. And not dual citizenship with anybody. You've guessed it, Israel. Now, call me a conspiracy theorist, by all means. Maybe it's just a conspiracy that all 305 have dual citizenship. Or maybe not. Maybe Israel is behind it. I don't know. I'm asking the question.
Obama's birth certificate and Loretta Fuddy. In 2013, a plane landed in the water with a woman aboard named Loretta Fuddy, who was the Hawaii health director, who just happened to release Obama's birth certificate prior in 2011. The entire emergency landing in the water was caught on camera. All the passengers, including Fuddy, were seen alive, but then Fuddy mysteriously died. There is no coincidence that everyone tied to the Obamas and the Clintons end up 6 feet under from an alleged suicide or freak accident. A manufactured Lie Jane Roe Lucifer confesses on her deathbed that she was paid to say and play the part. They just needed a manufactured case in order to legalize abortion because it's an incredibly lucrative business. Child murder and sacrifice is one of the tenets of the Luciferian elites. None of it is about women's rights. They don't give a damn about women. In any case, nobody should have the right to end another being's life. Nasara Jasara on Telegram, a new study found sunlight passes completely through the human body, rapidly boosting mitochondrial function and improving vision. That explains why a recent study found 82% of long vaccine patients went into remission after getting adequate sunlight. SG Anon on Telegram C. Possible timing. On 2s. 17-2026 Juan 07 JFK Jr. Together with high-ranking military alliance and U.S. Army insiders announced the below schedule. On 2s. 18 Aug. 2026 Quantum crystal chamber med beds activate across all 50 states and 209 nations. On Wed 19 Aug. 2026 Starlink EBS streams on Thurs. 20 Aug. 2026 Zim redemptions, GESARA and QFS wealth transfers begin. On Sat. 22 Aug. 2026 Global free access to med beds expand as waitlists clear and chronic disease ends for millions. On Sun. 23 Aug. 2026 Massive worldwide celebrations begin with Trump's address that declares the total defeat of deep state medical tyranny. 10 days of darkness begin.